All right, here's something that a lot of parents may find themselves wondering. What is going on in my teen's head?
It is a question that's been the focus of so many studies. So what can neuroscience really tell us about the teenage brain?
Dr. Laura Saunders from the Institute of Living is here to tell us more about it. What is in their brain, doctor?
We're going to get in their head.
Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. And I don't know if we really want to get in their head because it can be a scary place sometimes.
It really can be a scary place. It's scary in my head.
It's like the moon with the craters, you know?
Right, exactly. So what did you find? What did they find?
So there's been a lot of lore for the past, however many years about really that the adolescent brain is very immature. It contributes to a lot of problematic behaviors, that really adolescents are just risk machines who lack decision-making ability. They don't have a fully developed prefrontal cortex, and they have the liability to harm themselves and make poor decisions at any time. We know that the shift from childhood to adulthood is not linear, that there's a lot of bumps along the way. But I think that neuroscience is trying to help us understand the teenage brain, and that there's a lot of amazing and dynamic changes that can happen. But it's a shift towards seeing it as flexible and really focusing more on the positive aspects as opposed to all the negative aspects.
Well, and when you say positive, meaning it is so, neuroscience teaches us our brain is much more like Play-Doh, right? So they are at a point where with some certain behaviors and certain things they're doing, I mean, their brain really can grow and change.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a time for so much amazing growth, right? It's where, you're learning and you're adapting. I mean, if you think about all the developmental changes that happen between like 12 and 18 or 20, it's massive. And so there really is a lot of maturity going on in the brain, which is why you do want to be careful with access to substances and, how, don't get me started on social media again, but how that changes some of the brain. But we do know that it's a lot going on.
Can I ask a really, you may not know the answer to this, and it might be a stupid question, but is my brain still growing? Like, am I still?
No, yours isn't. You're too old. But
is that for real?
Time, right? Like they say,
is that for real?
I'm going to let Kara answer that as opposed to me answering that.
So, but factually, boy brains, they say, grow to about 27, and girl brains go to about 25, is what I have read. Is that sort of in the world?
And right. I mean, I don't know that no one wants to wake up each morning thinking that their brain is actively shrinking. So that is why we as adults do things each day to stimulate our mind and keep ourselves active, physically active and mentally active, because it promotes brain growth.
All right, but I'm still learning at 58.
Yes, you're learning.
You are still learning. We're all still learning.
Okay, very good.
You're very much learning. It's just not growing anymore.
You have these 7 things that parents need to know about the teen brain. Do you want to go over some of those?
Sure. So we know that the brain reaches its biggest size in early adolescence. It doesn't always seem that way on the outside, but that is in fact happening. It does continue to mature even after it's done growing. So Scott, your brain is continually maturing. That's a nice way to reframe it. That your brain's ready, it's primed for learning and adaptation. And that's what really is so important. The downside is a lot of mental disorders actually come out and begin to appear in adolescence as well. So that's why it's such a critical time to try to avoid, trauma and other kinds of things, because that can exacerbate the onset of mental disorders, and that they are pretty vulnerable to stress. And what I like to remind people is that our Olin Neuropsychiatry Research Center here at the IOL is doing some amazing neuroscience research on the adolescent brain. They've got a great study going on with ADHD and rewards. So, check out the Olin Neuropsychiatry Research Center here at the IOL, because they've got research studies going on and a lot of amazing information coming out of there.
Okay.
All right, so it's good to know. So, all right, but just to end on this, in case you show this to your teens, in the last 30 seconds, when the kids are drinking or kids are doing social media or whatever, because their brain is still growing, it is not the same as an adult. So they need to be very careful.
Be careful and have a little fun on the way.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Laura. We always appreciate seeing you on Wednesdays. We'll see you again sometime soon.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, Wednesday, I don't think we're in a show next Wednesday.
Oh, we could get you a brain scan. That would be fun.
I think I've already had one.
It's still ahead on
They're
this
still
Wednesday
looking for it.
afternoon.